Hello, my name is Ida Tarbell, and I'm an author and journalist. I came to Springfield to collect information on Mr. Lincoln. What I learn here will be used for books I'm writing. I have finished Volume 1 and am now working on Volume 2. Here are a few thoughts from a chapter of Volume 2, which I am entitling Lincoln Re-Enters Politics, The Fight for Freedom. It's on his profession from 1849 to 1854. Every year, he was becoming more absorbed in his legal work and lost his old desire for politics. In May 1854, the Kansas-Nebraska Act repealed the Missouri Compromise. It was the passage of this bill that brought Lincoln from the courtroom to the stump.
Hello, my name is Dred Scott, and I am a slave who filed a lawsuit for freedom, saying that I had traveled to a free state, which qualifies me to my freedom, or at least it should have. The Supreme Court argued a lot, and unfortunately, finally decided against me. They decided that no slave could ever be a U.S. citizen, and that they couldn't ever be free. I hate slavery in every way and want it to end. I had many trials and filed many separate lawsuits. My original suit was in the St. Louis District Court. There, the first trial was against me. But then, in the 1850 retrial, I was granted freedom. I was overjoyed and thank God for this miracle. Unfortunately, though, the court wasn't finished with my case and took away my freedom 2 years later. I was outraged. Finally, 11 years after the original lawsuit, the decision came. I had fought so much, struggled and argued, and finally was rejected. Now I must continue living a slave's life. I am supposed to believe that I am property, not a person.
Mr. Scott, and I do respect you by calling you Mr. What has Mr. Lincoln said about this situation?
Mr. Lincoln supported my cause. I remember hearing him say, "As I would not be a slave, so I would not be a master." This expresses my idea of democracy. Anything which differs from this, to the extent of the difference, is not democracy.
Thank you for this quote. I will make sure it gets into my book. We will now go visit Mrs. Mary Lincoln and her maid, Mariah Vance, at the Lincoln's home on 8th and Jackson.
Good morning. My name is Mary Lincoln, wife of Abraham Lincoln. I'm very much into politics like Mr. Lincoln. I'm an abolitionist, but I was raised by a wealthy family who owned slaves. I loathe slavery. I'm also a fervent and passionate supporter for the Union. In my personal life, both Stephen A. Douglas and Mr. Lincoln like me, but I like Mr. Lincoln. We got married on November 4th, 1842. But before we were married, our families did not approve of the match. Mr. Lincoln was almost 10 years older than me, but we still got married because we loved each other. I encourage Abraham and give him advice. We are a good team. I also appreciate my housemaid, Mariah Vance. Oh, look, here she comes.
Hello, my name is Mariah Henry Vance, and I am the Lincolns' black housekeeper, maid, and laundress. I also cook food for them. When Henry and I met Mr. Abe, we were at our shack on Washington Street. I remember he said, "Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. Vance," and then he came before us and said, "I'd like Mrs. Vance to come in the morning to our house. I'm going out of town on a circuit for a spell. Mrs. Lincoln will be alone with her son, Robert. We just lost our little boy, Eddie. Mrs. Lincoln has morning sickness besides the bad pains in her head. If you'll come, I'd be very much pleased." I agreed to come, but I needed a place to tuck in Julia and Phoebe, my children. "Okay, duh, Missy, what do I do now? I cleaned the kitchen and I did the laundry."
Now, I will let you come to my room and pick out my clothes. I need help. You know I depend on you.
"Of course I know you depend on me."
Well, as you are helping me, Mariah, I will tell you something about me. I love fashion, and I know that you know that I'm very stylish. Why am I telling things that you already know? Now, time for secrets.
"What secrets?"
I spend a lot of money, or that's at least what people say. I might have bought 400 pairs of gloves, but it was necessary. I also like colorful dresses, not black dresses.
"Oh, so that's why I see a different pair of gloves every time I clean out your room."
Yes, well, back to knitting the scarf.
We will now go explore the Lincoln Herndon Law Office down at State House Square.
Good day. I'm John George Nicolay. I am a journalist, clerk, and someday would like to work with Mr. Lincoln. I first came into contact with him when I was clerking for the Secretary of State here in Springfield. Lincoln was impressed with my abilities and professional conduct. After completing school, I worked for Robert's paper, the Pike County Free Press, as a printer's apprentice. The free press became a kind of political headquarters, acquainting me with the region's leading public and political figures, including Abraham Lincoln.
Welcome, John. Good day, everybody. I am William Herndon, Lincoln's third law partner. I've known Mr. Lincoln for a very long time. It all started at Joshua's Speedster, where both clerks and we slept in the attic. Mr. Lincoln got to his law career before I did, but I spent every second I could studying law after I left that place in South America. I remember that great day when I passed the bar and started studying with Logan and his partner, Lincoln.
Mr. Herndon, could you please tell me more about the Missouri Compromise of 1850?
The Missouri Compromise to keep slavery out of the North and the West.
Thank you, Mr. Herndon. Now, Mr. Nicolay, could you please explain the Kansas-Nebraska Act for me?
The Kansas-Nebraska Act, the brainchild of Stephen A. Douglas, applied the idea of popular sovereignty. These states should have been admitted as free states according to the Compromise of 1820 and 1850. The Kansas-Nebraska Act overturned previous compromises by allowing popular sovereignty in Kansas and Nebraska and increased tensions, especially in Kansas.
What is popular sovereignty?
Simply put, each state can decide whether it wants to be slave or free.
Mr. Lincoln called it squatter sovereignty. I believe that Mr. Lincoln's views on slavery were formed by the times and places that he was raised. Lincoln originally realized that slavery was a bad institution, but one that was accepted and necessary for the South's economy. I am definitely not supporting Douglas. What about you, William?
I am with you. I think I hear somebody.
Howdy, gentlemen. I have something to ask you. Would you two be willing to go with me to the state library and let me share the acceptance speech I'm giving tomorrow in the Hall of Representatives? I'd like your opinions on what I plan to say.
We will be glad to go hear the speech.
Did you know I was the first one to check out a book out of this library? When I was a young man, I went down to New Orleans and saw kids getting ripped out of their mother's arms and families never seeing each other again. This is when I realized that slavery is morally wrong and nobody should be treated this way. This is my main reason for coming back into politics. Listen as I share portions of my speech with my friends I'm giving tomorrow upstairs in the Hall of Representatives. Bill, John, dear friends, thank you for coming with me today to help me complete my House Divided speech for tomorrow. Here are two major points that I want to stress. One, that the Dred Scott decision is wrong, and two, that the African Americans are equal to the white race.
Good points, Abraham. Well said.
Here is the opening paragraph of my speech. We are now far into the 5th year since the Missouri Compromise has been initiated to put an end to slavery. But now the Kansas-Nebraska Act has sought to change that. As it says here in the Bible, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. This is my opinion on our nation right now. I do not believe that the government can endure permanently half slave, half free. I do not expect the union to be dissolved. I do not expect the house to fall. But I do expect that the union will cease to be divided. It will become all one thing or all the other.
Are you sure you want to say it that way?
Those are strong words. You will lose a lot of votes.
Yes, you may lose that, but someday you'll be president.
I've always hated slavery, and I always will. I must do this. It is the fight for freedom.
I hope Mr. Lincoln will finally resolve this horrible issue of slavery.
I always thought of slavery as a much smaller matter, but after learning about Dred Scott's experiences, my eyes are open to the horrors of it. Hopefully, slavery will cease to exist across this nation under God before it divides these United States.
I'm with my husband. Slavery must end, and quickly. And the Kansas-Nebraska Act is wrong. My husband did the right thing by coming back into politics to stop this nonsense.
I believe in what Mrs. Lincoln said, and I'm sticking with her.
The Missouri Compromise shouldn't have been canceled. It would have kept slavery out of the North and the West.
You're right. The Kansas-Nebraska Act and popular sovereignty has opened the doors to spreading slavery all over our nation.
And that's why I came back into politics. We have to stop the spread of slavery.
Lincoln came back into politics mainly because of the slavery matter. It was a huge issue during his time, but because of Lincoln's determination and courage, our nation is what it is today.
I believe the Declaration of Independence includes all men.
And women.
Wait, yes, the truths are self-evident.
They should be.
We are all endowed by our Creator
With certain unalienable rights.
Among these are
Life.
Liberty.
And the pursuit of happiness.
That's why Mr. Lincoln came back into politics, and that's why we all believe
slavery is wrong.
Just to let you know, Dred Scott gained his freedom just before he died. Thank you for letting us share what we have learned. Hello, my name is Arya Sridhar, and I played Ida Tarbell, the narrator.
Hello, my name is Charlie Gunderson. I played William Burden, Lincoln's law partner.
Hello, my name is Will Hovey, and I play John George Nicolay, a journalist and clerk.
Hello, my name is Jake Kepler, and I play Abraham Lincoln.
Hello, my name is Srihari Gurukabelli, and I played Dred Scott, an enslaved African American.
Hello, my name is Manasa Balasubramanian, and I played the Lincoln servant Mariah Vance.
Hello, my name is Nishi Korpati, and I played Mary Lincoln.